And now, a KY Sports Guys production. It's two to listen to, music, and more. And now, here's your hosts, the Stock Tony.
Welcome, everyone, to the premiere of the KY Sports Guys production. Two to listen to. I'm Stock Tony, along with Coach Jay Hurt. Coach, how you doing today?
I'm doing super, man, and it feels really odd to have you introduce the show and then ask me how I'm doing.
It really does feel strange to do that. It does. It feels strange to do a podcast. It's been a while. We've been teasing this podcast forever. We've been wanting to write. I wrote a piece a year plus ago. It's called Two to Listen to. I've written a new one since then. Two more to listen to. We decided we would do a little music podcast. It may be 10 minutes. It may be 20 minutes. We don't know. We're just going to give it a try and see what we get.
Yeah, it's good because earlier in the week, Mike Clef, WBKO, they did a really nice piece on us that aired at 6 and at 10, and it's on their website, and we may have downloaded it since. I'm not sure. But go check that out if you can. But it kind of plays the idea that even though our regular show is called the KY Sports Guys, we do a lot more than sports. And in fact, if you listen to our show, you know we do very little sports. But music, that's a passion of ours.
Music's something we love. We've been playing music this week. We played the band, the Hornets Nest Pickers, which was featured in the show in the Mike Clef piece on WBKO. Well done, by the way. And thanks again to Mike. Thanks to Bobby at the station for having him up, and we got to have him on show 110. You should go back and listen to that as well. You can find all this stuff on Apple Podcast. You can also find us on Facebook and at KY Sports Guys on Twitter. Look, we got a few things to talk about here music-wise. One of the things I think we're going to talk about right away is most likely not mainstream music. We're going to be talking about at least not mainstream country music.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. And one of the big themes that will be a huge part of this show, not just today, but every time that we do it, a lot of people argue that the era of great music is dead. Your hypothesis, if you will, is that's really not true. You just got to know where to find it. My
take has been forever that the music is better than it's ever been. We've got a lot of people doing so much great music, and it's easier to get than ever. We couldn't find music from Portland. Casey Anderson, who was in the original Two to Listen to, 15, 20 years ago when we were in college, how hard would it have been to have heard Casey Anderson doing some independent stuff or a new album from Portland, where he rarely ever leaves that area. Now it's as easy as finding it on YouTube, finding it on Apple Music, finding it on Spotify.
Yeah, and not to go into this too much because we have plenty to talk about today, but it's almost a more hopeful vision, whereas music used to be strictly controlled by Nashville, by L.A., by the music companies. Now, literally, people can put their stuff out on YouTube or whatever. People can latch on, and I think in a lot of ways that's the Tyler Childers story. It's almost a groundswell, a base that's created outside of the mainstream that leads to this fame and fortune.
You used to have like the Grateful Dead, for instance, who had a big following. People would follow them literally on tour around the entire nation. They're Deadheads. You had your Parrot Heads. You had certain bands with that cult following. Now it's a lot easier, as you mentioned, to find that person, that man, that woman, that band who you like to listen to and who speaks to you. And it may not be someone who's played at all on the mainstream networks. You may not find them on CMT or MTV. Does MTV even play videos anymore?
I don't think so. I don't think they have anything to do with music.
But anyway, you won't find them anywhere possibly but YouTube. Look, we've even got some songs out on YouTube that are originals. We got Old Folks on a Sunday Drive, Backroad Serenade, Leroy's Leather. I'm forgetting one. I think All the Best Lines Are Taken. Mm-hmm. We've got quite a few of those things out on YouTube as well. The Hornets Nest Pickers, a lot of stuff out there too. Go watch all of it.
Yeah, we're in favor of that. Also, go check out our sponsors. We have several, and we're going to put them on every podcast we do. If you're a NASCAR fan, by the way, we do Crew Chiefs of the Couch. We do, obviously, the KY Sports Guys. That's the big show, and now we're doing this, and we have a host of other ideas percolating, if you will, in our heads. And so we have sponsors that are going to get all those as we go. One of those is Stoll's Country Store in Andyville, Kentucky. Since 1972, step back in time with old-fashioned sales and service. Call 270-496-4169, Stoll's Country Store.
Also, Glass and Thompson Insurance. They've been proudly serving Edmonton and all of South Central Kentucky since 1938. As an independent agency, they have the ability to shop all of your insurance needs through numerous carriers to guarantee you get the best value for your hard-earned dollar. Contact Mark Linkus, Justin Bruce, or any of the Glass Thompson staff to take care of your home, auto, farm, life, business insurance needs. A quote is simple and free. Give them a call, 270-432-3491. They're located at 1006 West Stockton Street, right next to Pizza Hut. The number again, 270-432-3491.
Jerry Garris, coaches, business owners, if you need an LED message scoreboard, anything at all for your locker rooms, your school, he does all that kind of stuff for you. If you want to get decorative, call Jerry Garris. It's 270-668-6948. That's 270-668-6948. Jerry Garris, he'll take care of you.
It's gold, Jerry. And also the Old School Cafe, student run right here in Edmonton. I tell you what, we talk about them on the show every week, but go get their cinnamon rolls, their donuts, their coffee, their milk. Check out a sandwich at lunch. Those sandwiches are great. 270-432-0168. Student run, the Old School Cafe. Check them out.
Big thanks to all our sponsors. And I will say this, if you like the product that we're putting out there, whether it's the KY Sports Guys show, if you like this show when we get it up and running, Crew Chiefs of the Couch, etc., when you advertise with us, we're going to put you on all the podcasts. Now, the radio stuff, if you want on the actual radio show, that's different a little bit.
A little bit different, yeah.
But if you're on the radio show, we'll put you on the podcast. It's like It's like a square is a rectangle, but not a rectangle. Not all rectangles are squares.
Yeah, that's one of those theories. And all triangles have three sides, but not all triangles are right.
There you go.
Some triangles are not right.
Some of them are wrong.
Wrong.
Sounds like a country song.
Yeah, it actually sounds like a good name for a punk band. Wrong triangle.
I love it. So, having said all that, we appreciate our sponsors very much. Let's talk Tony. What do we have to talk about today in the world of music?
Well, we've got a few bits. We don't have imaging for them yet. We may get that soon. One of the bits is literally taken from the title, Two to Listen to. Let's go back a little bit, though. I wrote a post about a year and a half ago called Two to Listen to 2, talking about Casey Anderson and Tyler Childers. And I said at that point, I felt like I was late to the Tyler Childers bandwagon. But this was actually 2 years ago. And yet, I think a lot of people are now just catching on. So I feel like I was kind of midstream on that. Pretty excited about the Tyler Childers thing. Lately, I wrote another one. Go check them out on kysportsguys.com. But this Two to Listen to is a person or band that I recommend and a band or person that you recommend. So I'm going to start out. I know it's no shocker, but Tyler Childers. I've mentioned Tyler Childers to you probably over a year ago as well, and it's something when we get together always comes up that we're playing some Tyler Childers songs, and there's something about Childers that it speaks to me as a Kentuckian for one, a country person for another, and just as there's a charisma about him and his songwriting being so natural and true, and there's nothing phony. When I listen to Tyler Childers, I don't hear anything that I want to change or think maybe he shouldn't have put that there because it sort of personifies something that's not there. It all seems real to me, and to me, he is the up-and-coming star of stars right now in music.
I think that's well said. You know, I didn't listen to Tyler Childers until you wrote the piece and started listening to him. I'm not as huge a fan as a lot of people. That's not because I don't think he's great. I just haven't listened to him to the depths and the levels that a lot of people have. But your description is accurate. Here's a guy from the mountains. Here's a guy who's lived in poverty and in rural eastern Kentucky. And his songs, it's not that it's negative or positive, but they're accurate. They're real. When you listen, you feel like that is truly a song about this person's life or life of a person who could be in the mountains. And so, to your point, not to criticize other songs, but there are songs written about rural America or Appalachia or whatever, and they're very stereotypical, again, even in a positive or a negative way. Sometimes we take this rural feel and we paint it in a positive manner that's not necessarily the case. A song that I'm certainly not against, I like, it's a mainstream song. Tracy Byrd recorded it and had some written stuff that's from around there, but I'm from the country. It's not a bad song at all. But there was a line, I heard it today, and there's a line, everybody calls you friend. Well, I like the idea of that. I get that maybe rural places are a little friendlier, but I don't know that everybody calls you friend. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you're talking about the harsh realities of poverty-stricken areas. The eastern Kentucky, not the only place by far in
Absolutely
the
not.
world that's poverty-stricken.
Sure.
But you're even talking about Martin County, where Childers spoke this year. the water issue over there being so bad that you get a Tyler Childers who comes from that area, who sees that, tells those stories. Those stories are about real people. It's almost that James Fenimore Cooper, Mark Twain thing. Mark Twain could not stand Cooper. James Fenimore Cooper wrote Leatherstocking Tales, Natty Bumppo,
sure,
Last of the Mohicans.
Last of the Mohicans is the one people would know.
But he'd never been out west. He'd never seen the things he was writing about. Mark Twain despised that, especially as a guy who went and did those things. His name literally came from marking the Twain and the depth of the river.
Sure.
So the same thing kind of goes here. You get this rural area that we may be paying as a Mayberry sometimes, and then we start thinking about it. I've mentioned this before on the show, I think. Every week there was something going wrong in Mayberry.
Or else we wouldn't have needed a sheriff.
Yeah, there was always some killer coming through, the FBI or something.
Right, yeah.
Every week something was bad in Mayberry. Mayberry wasn't even Mayberry.
I love Andy Griffith. Love the show, yeah. But you're right, yeah.
I think the portrayal of that is a little false. And you get a song, songs about things that are really going on in the Eastern Kentucky or the poverty-stricken areas. A song like Nose to the Grindstone, talking about the opioid problems. And that's as real as it gets. And you get those kind of things. You listen to them, and you're like, yeah, I understand. This guy has seen it. He's been there. And I can buy that,
It occurs to me, I don't know if anybody out there is a Jimmy Buffett fan. I don't know, Jimmy Buffett sometimes gets put into the catalog of frivolous, cheeseburger in paradise. And that's true. Margaritaville's become a commercial success and so forth and so on. But we have a bit coming up called B-Sides.
Yeah.
And if you get deep into the Buffett albums and so forth, so I know Dr. Lyle is probably a big Buffett guy. The stuff you haven't heard.
Crew Chiefs for the Couch.
Yeah, exactly. Who works Crew Chiefs for the Couch and so forth. But there's a song, Jimmy Buffett, and the line in the song goes, "Don't try to describe a Kiss concert if you've never seen it." And it kind of hits at that same idea. Childers has seen it. And he's written about it, and he's written about it in a very honest way. Some of the songs are funny. Some of the songs are sad. Some of the songs are tough. But it's a very honest portrayal.
One thing I appreciate about him, and it's really hard to teach, it's just that gift he's got. He takes something and he tells it honestly. And some, like you said, some of them are funny. They're very clever, well written, and you listen to the lyric. And that's the thing. I think that's one of the things we're going to encourage you to do here if you listen to the show. Don't just listen to the beat and stomp your foot. That's fine if that's what you want to do. But if you want to listen to us, I think we're getting in deeper a little bit with the actual lyrics. We want you to actually hear it and hear what's being said. And when you listen to those lyrics, you can tell that there's a turn of phrase. There's using the old colloquial expressions, somehow making them new. There's a cleverness involved that not just everybody can do, and that's part of the brilliance of Childers as well.
The bit's called Two to Listen to, and the original piece that you wrote is on our website. It's TheKYSportsGuys.com. I encourage you to go read that. It's not all sports either. There are a ton of music ideas and various ideas on there. But I'm going to give, since it's two, your first one is Tyler Childers, and I think it's very appropriate, almost symbolic, if you will. I'm going to go with the Wooks. And the Wooks, they've been around a little while now. Bluegrass, but not your traditional Ralph Stanley and the Clinch Mountain Boy kind of bluegrass. And they do something that I really like. I like originals. I like people that write their own songs, like you say. But I also like people who can do covers that turn them into their own, or that are willing to take songs from a different genre and turn it into their genre without losing it. Because sometimes it doesn't turn out great. But they do some really good covers of a variety of songs. They have their own stuff as well. If you like bluegrass, you'll like them, but you don't have to like bluegrass to like them, if that makes sense. Real quick, they do a really good version of Atlantic City, which is a Bruce Springsteen song. The
Wooks, Tyler Childers actually played a lot together coming up.
Yep.
Now, J.P. Critter saw the Wooks play what was their last concert back in the spring.
Right.
Because I think their lead singer, guitarist maybe, or banjo player one hurt his hand in maybe a farm accident.
Okay.
I think they're going to still continue from what I can tell, but they may be without him, or he may not be playing.
Maybe a change of the lineup.
That's got to be tough.
Sure.
Man. You've grown up your whole life. You're a professional. You're one of the best in the business at playing your guitar, and you hurt yourself. And he said they played for 4 hours.
Sure.
Their last show, and so there were tears.
Oh, yeah.
And it was very emotional. I wish I'd have gone. I had a chance to go and sort of didn't. So wish I'd gone now to see that. But the Wooks definitely. And again, along the same lines as Childers.
Now, we're not going to do this all the time. We're the KY Sports Guys when we do that show, but we talk about national issues. We're not going to relegate this to just in-state people, but oddly enough, the two we chose today, randomly, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You talked about Jimmy Buffett, though. He's
sure, we did.
Right?
That's what I've heard, yeah, somewhere down in that area. So,
well, speaking of, why don't we just jump down there to the B-sides? What song is that? Because honestly, I know quite a few deep album cuts from Jimmy Buffett. I actually referenced one in a tweet just earlier this week, Money Back Guarantee, the Ginsu Knife and the Bamboo Steamer. But
which is outstanding, yeah.
But I don't know this song that you're talking about.
I don't, but I'll have to look it up because I'm going to have it too. But I know the punchline at the end, he changes. Instead of "Don't try to describe a Kiss concert," at the end he says, "I hope Anita Bryant never ever does one of my songs." And I had to look up Anita Bryant. Do you know who Anita Bryant was?
No, I do not.
Apparently, she was a former maybe Miss America candidate who they turned into some sort of pop singer, what have you. Yes, that's it.
Is it Mañana?
It is. Please don't say Mañana if you don't mean it.
I think I've heard that.
Yeah.
Please don't say
yeah.
We can't sing that.
Well, yeah, we'll exactly break all kinds of copyright rules. But yes.
We get 7 seconds.
Mañana is the song. But the theme, the idea behind it is kind of along those lines. You should have to have some reference to something. Doesn't mean you have to do it exactly. Look, I don't think Stephen King has done all the stuff that is in his books. That's not the point.
True.
You have creative license. You have the ability to make up stuff. That's not the thing. But when you try to give an authentic view without being authentic, that's a problem.
Yeah, let's go ahead. I'm going to keep the theme. We've talked about themes. I'll keep the B-sides ourselves to Biloxi, another Jimmy Buffett song. Love Biloxi. It's slow, really slow, but I love some of the imagery in it. Love the music. It just puts you in a mood. It puts you right there watching those children playing in the ocean and just being chill. And that's kind of where I'm headed right now because I'm literally, as this is playing, probably sitting on the beach watching someone in the ocean right now. So Biloxi, or Biloxi, as he pronounced it. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. But Biloxi is my B-side ourselves, a song from a known artist, but probably not one you're going to hear on the Yellow album, the Songs You Know by Heart. It's not on that.
It's not on there, right? It's not on.
It is on the 4-part, the Beaches, Boats, Bars, and Ballads.
Yes, which is really good. It's a great collection. Yeah,
we should play that game. Which one of those 4 is it on? Because I believe both of those songs are on there. I'm going to go with Ballads on Biloxi, but
yeah, I think you're 100% right now that I think of it. But the one Mañana, the one that I listen to all the time, I had a favorite, but Mañana's on that. It's Nautical Wheeler. I think it's Boats.
Okay, I'm going to go with you.
Nautical Wheeler and so forth. Havana Daydreaming.
Oh, yeah. Love that
classic stuff. But we need to save this stuff because we're going to have more of these. We can't just blurt it all out on the first
Jimmy
one.
Buffett theme. Maybe we should do that. Start doing themed ones. Like
we could.
Jimmy Buffett show.
Sure.
Bob Seger show.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's an interesting idea.
It's an interesting transition from Jimmy Buffett to Bob Seger, too. I don't know how I made that.
I love it. Hey, we do want to mention this as we're talking. This is a recorded show. You can't call in. I'm sorry. The KY Sports Guys call in. You can't really tweet at us in live time, but you can tweet at us at KY Sports Guys. And I think we have an email address. I don't know if we've ever gotten an email.
KYSportsGuys@yahoo.com.
Is it the KY or just KY?
I can look that up.
But here's the point.
Never caused us any trouble before.
Here's the point. Let's say you have an idea. Let's say it's not us, but you have an idea. You have an artist you want us to talk about. You have an artist you want us to hear. You're like, hey, you should listen to this guy.
Yeah.
T-O-O. We're up for that. We can do that for sure. Exactly. You have a B-side song you think is cool. We'd love to hear from you, so let us know.
It is the KYSportsGuys@yahoo.com, by the way, with the. Okay. There's also a thing I wrote a couple years ago as well, and some of our listeners and readers took me up on it. It was a 7-day challenge. Maybe we need to all do that someday, where I named them different things, different days for different things, but one day you had to listen to somebody you never think about listening to. One day you had to listen to something that was someone you knew maybe, but it was a song you didn't know by them. That kind of thing, a live song, things like that. That'd be a fun challenge to take up too. And that's on the website as well.
What's queued up?
What's queued up? That's it's what's in your iPod right now. Now nobody uses iPods anymore. Nobody listens to the old Walkman anymore. I know. Would it be fun though, just for old time's sake, to plug in a Walkman?
That would be cool. See if it works.
What's in your Walkman?
This is how old I am. Not only did I have a Walkman that played a cassette, right?
Yeah.
But I also had the little, like, it was a speaker that plugged in to the top. Something. It was a weird looking.
Speakerman?
Yeah, a Speakerman, maybe. So I'm sure I had the off brand, but yeah, that would be cool.
I don't think they were called Speakerman, by the way.
If so, we've broken all kinds of laws, right?
That was so like not gender binary.
Sure.
Walk man, it could be walk woman.
Could.
Walk woman.
Those
Anyway,
are different times.
walk person.
A walk person.
What's queued up is what you're listening to right now. I've been going first. I'm going to let you go first.
You know, I have to be honest with you. When I get up in the mornings, I listen to 991 The Hoss. I keep my radio on 991 The Hoss. A lot of times it's on the Trader or whatnot. But the songs that have been rolling around in my head, and usually it's funny because when I get on something, I'll usually post it. And I stumbled upon an old Keith Whitley tune the other day, and it's not one that you would normally think of. And now for Old Memory and Me. This is just between an old memory and me. And so I've been coming into the office here, and I'll get on YouTube and I'll punch up Keith Whitley to start, and then I'll let it go down the rabbit hole, so to speak.
Are you a seasonal listener? Do you listen to maybe more bright and happy songs necessarily in the summertime when it's pretty outside, and maybe darker songs like maybe some alt from the 90s or whatever when it's darker, like wintertime or something?
It's a great point. I'm going to say yes and no to that sometimes. But I said this to Milton Sire the other day, one of our Hornets Nest Pickers buddies.
Yeah, man, he pulled off a great show though.
Oh, he was super, really good. His just right on the spot doing that Johnny Cash one piece at a time is amazing. This is weird about me as far as music. I love really sad country songs. I just love them. I'm not a sad person. I'm a happy person. I have a great life. I'm not sitting around, upset about any particular thing. But man, I don't even care about the time of year. And when I heard that Keith Whitley song the other day, I was like, wow, if you want something that's going to break your heart. And we'll spend some time talking about, I'm not going to sit around and bash new country all the time because that's boresome and everybody does that and it's already cliche, so to speak. But if you like country music that will absolutely make you want to cry, that particular song is that. And I love that stuff. It's almost like, how sometimes, and this is gender again, maybe I shouldn't gender stereotype. How sometimes guys tend to make fun of girls who like sappy movies?
Yeah.
Chick flicks, we call them. Exactly right. I don't know if that's a PC term or not.
I think you can still get away with that.
But we make fun of it, and we're like, why do you want to watch these? What's entertaining? Because I like comedies. I like to laugh. But not when it comes to music. And now that I think of it, basically I like the sad, almost chick flicks of music. I don't know what that says about me.
That's a great, interesting point, that I hadn't considered it.
What about you? Are you seasonal?
There are some things. I'll listen to Bob Marley by the pool. I probably won't listen to Bob Marley in the middle of January.
Good point.
Jimmy Buffett.
Buffett's the same.
Done the same at times.
Where are you? What's going on?
Dead,
Absolutely.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So those are my warm weather music.
I got you. Like Chili, although you're a big believer in Chili.
I don't always got my allies on this, but I like Chili. Why not Chili? Why not now?
That's on the site, by the way. THEKYSPORTSGUYS.com. What's queued up for you, man?
It's been, for a long time, it's been Ian No for the last couple of weeks. I'm going to skip Ian No because I'm going to save Ian No for next podcast because he's one of the what's new to listen to, what else to listen to.
I got you.
We're going to skip Ian No. The last thing I listened to just yesterday, though, I listened to a little Tom Petty. I just put on Wildflowers.
Yeah.
And then it moved right into, I believe, Don't Come Around Here No More, or is Running Down a Dream, actually. I can listen to Tom Petty anytime. I'm not seasonal about Tom Petty. There's so much. You can start at the top of, just take that 20 Greatest Hits album, start at American Girl and run it all the way through to, I believe I don't even know what it is, Refugee or something to the end. But you can listen to that. There's not a bad song on there. Most anytime you listen to Tom Petty, you're gonna feel all the emotions too. There's some sad, there's some happy, there's some good beats, there's some nice little guitar riffs. But in the end, the lyrics, and that's why I'm always looking for most, the lyrics still ring true and make you feel something. So I'm going to give Tom Petty my what's queued up.
Tom Petty's one of those guys, may he rest in peace, but he's one of those guys that you don't find many people anti-Tom Petty.
No.
He does not bring about a visceral negative reaction from almost anybody. Now, look, I can bring up bluegrass, which I love, and I might say, hey, listen to this Ralph Stanley song. There's going to be a lot of people like, well,
yeah,
I can't tolerate that.
Doesn't hit the ear the way
right.
it
hits
yours.
Somebody else might have a really hard metal song. They're like, oh, listen to this song. And I'd be like, no, that's not my thing. Both of those groups, you play a Tom Petty song and everybody's like, yeah, I get that. So
Yeah, I think he's sort of right there in the middle, and there may be a few people like him, but I tell you, great loss a couple of years ago.
Sure.
And just somebody whose catalog, I think almost everyone knows something about Tom Petty too.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can be 5 years old, 10 years old, and get into some of it, even if you're not listening and understanding all the themes.
I think it's a great point. And then here's the other thing that I talk about a lot. In general, if it's really popular, it scares me to death. I worry when something's just hugely popular, kind of an emperor's new clothes kind of bias or fear. What do you call it? Phobia, if you will. Tom Petty's that guy that's unbelievably, immensely popular. Yet I love it. I get it. I think it's popular and it's good, which is not always the case.
It's not always the case, but it also shows you that it can be both.
Can
and
be
there
true.
are some people who bridge that gap.
Yes,
To Tom Petty,
I
definitely
agree.
one of them. I tell you what, we've talked about quite a bit here. I really enjoyed it so far. We got play of the week. We've been playing some music today. What's something you enjoyed playing today that was just as you and I as musicians? Cody sat in with us. What's something we played today that you said, man, that's where it's at?
Again, we did a lot of fun stuff, and we played some bluegrassy type stuff. Look, you have a stand-up bass, a mandolin, and an acoustic guitar. So, it lends itself to a certain sound and certain whatever. I saw this today, and we tried a bar of it, a verse of it. I loved it. I thought it was cool. But it was the Beach Boys, Sloop John B., and Dwight Yoakam had redone it with his studio. And I think it was one of those deals where they didn't plan on putting it out, but they just had the thing rolling. And you listen to it, it's just brilliant. And so we tried some of that. I love playing things that aren't supposed to be mandolins and stand-up bass with mandolins and stand-up bass. So there you go. Sloop John B. by the Beach Boys, but with a bluegrass twist.
You mentioned it because it goes back to the Wooks, all the way back, full circle, little circles, as it were.
Well done, yes.
But full circle back to the Wooks doing that kind of thing, too. I enjoyed everything we did. I know Cody likes a lot of the same kind of stuff I like.
Yeah.
I like showing him some of the stuff, the children's that he's not done yet. I love the song 22nd Winter, and I enjoy playing it. It was great to have that bass. It takes a minute to get used to that stand-up bass being just there in your ear. But once we got used to it and once I started feeling it, playing 22nd Winter was a lot of fun. And that was my play of the week.
Outstanding. Again, I don't know how long these podcasts are going to go, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. We don't want to belabor the point, but I'm really excited about where this is going to take off. And I can tell as we add bits and do different things, maybe have some call-ins. I know you have some people in mind that this is going to be a lot of fun to do.
Really do, too. And what Coach said, you can't call in and you can't tweet at us during the taping of this. But when you hear this, if we put it out, say, Saturday, you can tweet at us then. Let's hashtag it as something. Let's hashtag it as 2 to listen to.
Okay.
So hashtag it as that. We'll see it, and we'll get back with you. As Coach said, maybe you'll have some recommendations for us. We'll need that because we have a thing coming up called Against the Grain. We just didn't do that today. Against the Grain is where we're going to listen to something that's totally out of our spectrum and give you our thoughts on it.
I'm 100% looking forward to that because there are a lot of musics that I don't think about. You stay in your comfort zone.
Yeah,
is what you do.
exactly.
But it's going to be fun to listen to something totally different and then give some. And we're not going to just bash it. That's not the goal. The goal is not to say, "Oh, this is awful," but to say, "Hey, listen to this." Almost like a food.
Yeah,
I tried it, and here's what I thought about it.
Yeah, I like to do that if I've got time. With every now and then, listen to something new or try to get those B-sides, deep album cuts.
Yeah,
listen to whole albums. Sometimes you don't have time to do that. So that's the kind of thing we're going to do. So Against the Grain, if you can tweet at us, we'd love to have your recommendations.
Outstanding. I've really enjoyed it.
I have too. We're going to have this outro music, which is going to be the same as our intro music. Thanks to Cody, you and I, we 3 kind of put this together. And if you got it playing and anything bigger than a phone, you may hear Cody on that stand-up bass thumping. If you're playing it through a phone, you may totally miss that. But when I put it into my truck on the way over here, it was really thumping. All right. Once again, thanks to all our sponsors, Stoll's Country Store, Jerry Garrett's, Glass Thompson Insurance, and the Old School Cafe. This has been 2 to listen to, too. Stocktonian Coach Jay Hurd.